The trial is over, and Joseph Paul DeWyze has been found guilty on all 3 charges after killing his wife.
I'm Mike Dennison in Helena. A big announcement today on Colstrip from Northwestern Energy. Coming up, I'll tell you what it means.
A pleasant good morning to you as we hit the middle of the week with Chet Lehman and Matt. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back up.
Rolling on the morning. How are you doing this morning?
We hope well, right?
Right.
Temperatures this morning aren't bad. It's still cold enough. You need to have a coat and gloves for the kids as they're heading out.
Still December.
It is
still Southwest Montana.
Still not winter. It's still fall.
That's
not
correct.
Not too bad though for this time of year, right?
No, it really isn't. We can't complain too much. In fact, the afternoon is going to be beautiful. We have the cloud cover in place early on. There is a little tuft of moisture trying to work its way through here. It's mainly mountain snow showers that we'll see today. But our temperatures are going to be quite a bit above average for most of western Montana. There's a good chance we'll see some snow by the weekend. That could impact your Friday night football plans. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Matt, thanks very much. Well, the trial is over, and after 2 hours of deliberation, the jury found Joseph Paul DeWyze guilty of deliberate homicide in the shooting death of his wife.
Now, MTN's Cody Boyer has been in the Law and Justice Center courtroom for the entire hearing. Yesterday, he was there as DeWyze said what happened in his own words.
Joseph Paul DeWyze, count 1, to the charge of deliberate homicide of Lauren DeWyze, guilty.
The conclusion of a 7-day trial and 2 hours of deliberation. The jury found Paul DeWyze guilty on all 3 counts, including deliberate homicide, attempted deliberate homicide in the shooting of Ashley Van Hemert, and using a gun to commit the crimes. The hallway filled with those who knew Lauren, investigators, and Joe DeWyze after the verdict. The courtroom had still been buzzing after hearing testimony directly from DeWyze himself.
I have been in jail for 22 months waiting for an opportunity to explain to a jury that I'm innocent.
Paul DeWyze's testimony began quietly, recalling his relationship with Lauren, including what he calls were good times traveling across the country. But when asked about audio and video recordings found on his phone, DeWyze's demeanor changed.
I never threatened my wife in any way like that. I'm not that kind of a person. I respected and I loved her strength and her individuality.
DeWyze says he did not go back to Audria Butler's home, where Lauren and Ashley Van Hemert were sleeping when someone broke in and shot them both.
I don't remember doing a lot that day. I was sick.
DeWyze says that was it. When the prosecution brought forth the recordings and evidence linking the cartridges found to the .22 Ruger pistol found in a pond and purchased by DeWyze, DeWyze became angry.
There's a lot of circumstantial evidence out there, all right? But you know what? If a lot of you took a real good look at your life and you thought about things that you did and then something bad happened, you could be in the same boat I'm in.
DeWyze also claimed he never threatened his wife, following an audio tape of Paul's voice telling Lauren he would kill her.
I'm not a controlling person. I don't even know how to do that. And anybody who knows me knows that.
And DeWyze confirmed he called his daughter from jail too, but denies asking her to put the blame on her brother Joe.
The state wants to put so much pressure on me that I would just crack and take the blame for it so that I could get out of the horrible situation I was in.
DeWyze claims the person who killed Lauren and shot Van Hemert is still on the loose.
I have been falsely accused here. I didn't do it, and I don't deserve to go to prison. And what you've done is wrong, okay? That is the truth.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Now, Cody tells us DeWyze's sentencing hearing has been set for 2 o'clock on February 4th of next year. He still faces 2 other felony charges, by the way, involved when he called his daughter while in jail, and then once for punching a detention center officer, allegedly, as well.
Well, the news swirling around Washington, D.C. Despite the announcement of the articles of impeachment against President Trump, Democratic leaders in the White House were able to see eye to eye on the USMCA trade deal on Tuesday.
Yeah, that comes after U.S., Canada, and Mexico trade negotiators modified a version at a ceremony in Mexico City. CNN's John Lawrence picks up the story.
President Trump is close to achieving a major legislative win.
Congress will soon vote on my new trade deal, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, or USMCA.
The president tweeted that it's the best and most important trade deal ever made by the USA, a step up from its predecessor, the North American Free Trade Agreement.
There is no question, of course, that this trade agreement is much better than NAFTA.
So what does the USMCA bring, and how is it different from NAFTA? First, a boost to the auto industry. It mandates more vehicle parts to be made in the 3 countries in the deal for manufacturers to avoid tariffs. And according to the International Trade Commission, the USMCA will create more auto industry jobs. Labor laws will also be strengthened, a move AFL-CIO President Richard Trumka applauds. And another change is the removal of controversial protections for biologic drugs.
This is a transformative agreement. It's a template, I believe, for future agreements.
He said Democrats plan to hold a vote on the USMCA in the House next week, but the impeachment process will likely prevent the Senate from getting to it quickly.
That'll have to come up, in all likelihood, right after the trial is finished in the Senate.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Now, not all Republicans are happy with the deal. Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania is among the few members of the GOP to oppose the plan. And on Tuesday, he blasted the deal due to changes made by House Democrats. Senator John Cornyn of Texas also gave a tepid response, saying he looks forward to reviewing the agreement, hearing how it will impact Texas, and then providing some feedback.
Northwestern Energy had a big announcement. It plans to acquire an additional 185 megawatts of coal-fired power generated at Colstrip.
Yeah, oddly enough, though, the announcement comes just one day after renewable power advocates blasted Northwestern for moving too slowly towards cleaner energy. MTN's Mike Dennison picks up that story.
On Monday, scores of people came to Helena to tell the Public Service Commission that Northwestern's plan to add 750 megawatts of power in Montana needs more emphasis on clean, renewable power. But early Tuesday morning, Northwestern revealed that it will meet 1/4 of its goal with more power from Colstrip.
Our customers in Montana are more exposed to the market than customers of any other electric company in the western United States. It's a big, big hole. This transaction allows us very cost effectively to fill about 25% of that hole.
The company says it will pay $1 to buy the share of Colstrip 4, now owned by Puget Sound Energy, a Seattle-based utility that wants to unload its coal-fired power to comply with a clean energy mandate in Washington state. Northwestern's 370,000 customers in Montana would still have to pay for plant operation and maintenance costs related to the new strip of power. Yet Rose says the transaction should be a net zero for consumers because Northwestern will sell some of the power back to Puget Sound for 5 years and use that revenue to offset future cleanup costs at Colstrip. But Ann Hedges of the Montana Environmental Information Center doubts the customer cost will be zero. She notes the Colstrip 4 boiler already needs $20 million in repairs and says other plant-related costs exist.
Maybe there's a purchase price that's free, but when somebody gives you something that's free, you need to look under the hood.
She also says it's startling that Northwestern is doubling down on dirty power when other regional utilities are going to cleaner, cheaper energy sources. Rose says the Colstrip addition is steady, affordable power that Northwestern dearly needs now, and that it could set the table for more renewable power development in the future.
It's a good resource to meet our customers' immediate and midterm needs. Also, it really does create space in the future, whenever the plant is retired, for other resources that might not be mature now to come in and participate.
So is more coal-fired power from Colstrip really the best deal for Northwestern's Montana customers? That's a question that will soon go to the Public Service Commission, which will make the final call. In Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now, as Mike said, Northwestern says it still must submit the proposed purchase to the PSC for review, and that should happen within the next month or so.
So more people are getting professional help for mental health issues, but those new to the process could be experiencing what's called a therapy hangover.
You go to therapy and leave feeling depressed, sad, angry. Most people are in tears.
Now, psychologist Dr. Randy Kamen says not to worry right away. It's pretty typical to be overwhelmed after a therapy session.
And she says it's a good thing, actually, in some cases, because it means that you're getting in touch with deeper emotions that you don't always tap into. But sometimes a therapy hangover can be a sign that a difficult topic is being rehashed too often.
What happens is in the brain, when you talk about something over and over and over again, you strengthen it. So whatever you strengthen, the good stuff and the bad stuff, whatever you think about over and over again becomes stronger.
That's interesting. Dr. Kamen suggests writing about your therapy hangovers, talking about them in the next section, and then leaving some time after therapy to process those emotions, not schedule anything important immediately after. She also says learning resiliency skills to help process anxiety and sadness should be a part of therapy. If therapy hangovers continue, you may need to consider finding a therapist that's maybe a better fit for you.
Good points to deal with something and to get it out.
That's a good idea. Talking about it is never a bad thing. There we go. We're going to take a quick break here on Montana This Morning. When we come back, a Montana tribe nearing the end of a decades-long battle with the federal government over its very existence. We have the details.
But first, let's check in with CBS This Morning for a quick preview.
Ahead on CBS This Morning, our exclusive interview with Ed Smart. He reveals how coming out as gay nearly 2 decades after his daughter Elizabeth's kidnapping affected his relationship with his family. Plus, a monumental conversation, you could say. We'll introduce you to the artist changing the narrative of Confederate statues by creating a 27-foot sculpture of his own. Anthony talks to him. And the best ways to keep up with your healthy habits during the holidays. We all need that. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.